Friendship, for example, is a real gift.
It's an insane world. In it there is one sanity, the loyalty of old friends.
You're the best friends anybody ever had.
Lone best friend, good.
Bubba was my best good friend. I had to make sure that he was okay.
Friendship and family, these are the things that matter.
Can we just become best friends? Yep.
Touch my friends again and I'll blind you. Thanks, Mike. You're my best friend here.
Lose one friend, lose all friends, lose yourself.
We ride together, we die together. Bad boys for life.
That's what friends are for, right?
Friends? Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
If you're not over here in 15 minutes, you can find a new best friend. You've been saying that since the 5th grade.
Welcome to the I Am Your Friend podcast. I am your host, Aiden Licker. Thank you so much for tuning in. We made it. I don't know what we made it to, but we're here. And our guest today is our friend Max. Hey, Max.
Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller there, guy. How you doing?
There we go. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Thanks for coming on. It's been a long time coming.
Thanks for having me.
We've been friends for a little bit. We hang out almost every day.
Almost every day.
Max is a stand-up comedian in Buffalo and in other places when he's in those places. And we see each other at open mics pretty much every day. For the most part, we're on shows together a lot. We've become a bit. We get paired together a lot. I think in the scene,
We've been called the power couple.
Yeah, which I like.
I'm all right with it.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Last week on the pod, I was talking about how I'm going to be starting a new podcast with a comic friend of mine. And if you didn't figure it out, it's Max.
It's me, motherfuckers.
There it is.
We're gonna tell some jokes.
So Max and
but this
I,
isn't that.
Yeah, this is. Well, it might be. We're gonna find out. But Max and I are starting a new podcast. It's gonna be more lean towards comedy things. We're gonna do. I don't know. I started that. I don't know if you saw. I started like that. I figured out how to do the messaging thing. So people can message in on stuff. So we could utilize that if we need to. But I think
that just gonna be people sending us weird stuff?
I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. We should just do Twitter polls maybe, or just I don't know. But we're gonna
we'll flesh that out. Have
audience involvement somehow, and we're going to talk about whatever you guys want us to talk about, and we're going to debate things and be as funny as we can. Where the I Am Your Friend podcast, while there are funny moments, we're
not allowed to be funny here.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it's not a comedy podcast per se.
It's not comedy based.
It's like
what would you categorize this as?
Well, automatically it gets categorized as society and culture on the podcast platforms, which I kind of like. I think that works.
That makes sense.
That kind of fits in
that
society and culture. The other one will be comedy though. So I'm excited about that.
It'll be good. It'll be fun.
We'll get started probably after I get back from vacation.
Yeah.
Which is in a couple weeks.
So I was doing the math.
There you go.
Doing the math?
Were you good at math in high school?
Not.
No. Were you good at anything in high school?
I was good at school. I was an A+ student for most of my life. In not math. Apart from math, I did really well in school. And then the last math class I took was freshman year of college, and it was Introduction to Calculus or something like that.
Yeah, Survey of Calculus.
Yeah, one of those.
I took that.
And then I haven't touched math since.
Yeah.
And I think I got a D, to be honest.
I got an A and I tutored it.
Someone's a fucking dork.
What's up? That's why I got a high quality.
Does statistics count as math?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I took statistics too.
What'd you get in that?
Not good.
I got an A in that. Actually, no, I got a B in that only because I missed just enough classes that I dropped a letter grade.
I was going to say, the thing about statistics was that attendance wasn't taken.
Oh, interesting.
And
mine was the opposite.
All the labs.
Attendance wasn't taken in a statistic class?
The labs could be done within a week. We had all the materials to do them, so I just kind of did that, and I crowdsourced a lot of the material.
There you go.
The political way of saying
that.
And then, I went to statistics class 6 times, the first 2 days, and then all 4 exams.
Yeah, that would explain not doing well. I
no,
guess. Yeah,
not good.
There were a lot of classes in college that I did that it was if attendance wasn't required,
yeah,
they put the schedule and the syllabus of when the tests were, I was like, all right, I'll figure this out on my own. I'll teach myself.
I did environmental geology, which was just bona fide environmental science.
Yeah.
Which is what I was studying.
Okay.
So I was like, I've done this 100 times. Also, like, my dad's a geologist, so I grew up with that.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really go. I showed up to turn in the homeworks, and then I would just dip. And I think I got like an A.
Perfect.
It worked out.
College is easy, everybody.
College is
It's just a waste of your time and money.
Unless like you're gonna
mostly your money.
If you're gonna be a doctor, then I guess it makes sense. But
yeah, that's what I always tell people. Like on the real, like what I always tell people is like it makes sense if you're going to college to be something. Other than that,
like a music business manager. If you want to be a music business manager,
I would love to be a music business manager. If I'm being honest,
Sudi for telling you.
I'm getting close.
You've done it.
I'm tour managing. That's close enough. I'm
counts.
barely tour managing though. That's just really me giving myself a title other than merch guy.
Yeah. Well, it looks better on the tip jar.
Yeah.
Merch guy, tip jar, tour manager, tip jar.
Right. But people, I think, will be more inclined to tip the merch guy than the tour manager because they assume the tour manager is getting paid.
Correct.
Yeah.
When in reality, no one's getting paid.
Correct. The band's barely getting paid.
The band's barely getting paid.
But the thing is, I'm doing it in hopes that the band eventually does get paid. And then
you're riding the coattails.
Right. And then their management will assign them somebody who actually knows what they're doing and I get pushed out.
Bum, bum.
That's the industry, folks. That's what I signed up for. That's what I went to school for. You need some music business advice? Call somebody else.
Submit it through the link at story. Or I'm plugging my own podcast.
Plug your own podcast. Max hosts co-hosts a podcast called Story Time. That's STOURY time. Story Time about touring and traveling.
Yeah.
And stories of those two things. I am a guest on it. My episode's not out yet, but maybe it'll be out by the time.
It comes out Tuesday.
It comes out tomorrow. If you're listening to this the day it comes out. If you're listening to this after it's out, go check it out. And I tell a lot of stories about almost shitting my pants in New York City.
That's honestly like your episode will be out when this is out. Musha's is out. And then there's a couple others that we have that are, scheduled to come out. And the majority of them are people shitting their pants. Yeah. In some capacity.
That's the craziest thing that ever happens while traveling.
It's also like I used to have a joke about it, and it's just like it's the ultimate human condition. Yeah. Is that you can meet anyone anywhere in any form of life and they'll probably have shat their pants at some point as like an adult.
So I've never actually shit my pants, but that was the closest I ever got. Yeah, that was the closest I ever got.
You never full on like mistrusted a little.
No,
nothing.
Not even. I don't even. Maybe peed a little bit.
Comment if you think Aiden should poop his pants live on the podcast.
Poop his pants.
Poop his pants. That's surprising given
I have an incredible amount of restraint over my bowels.
The thing is,
closest I ever got was that New York City trip for sure.
I back that statement, not like that I'm aware of your capacity, but sometimes you just get a little confident.
Yeah, no, I believe that. See, I never get a little confident in anything that I do.
That's the benefit of self-esteem issues.
Yeah.
Is that you won't do that. Yeah.
Having extreme anxiety basically prepares me for the worst at all times. So bad things don't really happen to me.
That's pretty tough.
But because of that, I don't take a lot of risks. So a lot of good things don't happen to me either.
Do you think doing
vis-a-vis having a podcast?
Vis-a-vis.
Is that how you use that expression? I think that's how it is.
When you said
Ipso facto?
When you said it, I wanted it to be pronounced differently.
Yeah.
And that's why I repeated it. And then once I repeated it, I was like, no, that's definitely how you say it.
Oh, okay. Then I'm going to take that as a win.
I think it's correct. I mean, I don't know.
There's a lot of times in this podcast I say phrases or words and I'm like, I don't know if that's what that means, but it sounds right in my head.
I'm not good at math. So I don't think I'm a good verdict.
I don't read a lot, but I wish I could. It's just a true statement.
Just leave the dead air.
Yeah. It's a true statement.
I also don't read a lot. I also buy books and then don't read them.
Sometimes I will.
Yeah.
It depends. It's got to hook me right away. That's the thing. It's got to get me right in the beginning, and if it doesn't, I'm not going to pick it up.
I bought a book, and It was written by the guy that did The Fault in Our Stars.
John Green.
Or the thing is, I don't remember off the top of my head. It was him or his brother.
Hank Green.
Because they're both authors.
Yeah.
Which is annoying.
TikTok wants to force Hank Green on me so bad, and I hate him. I don't hate him. I got nothing against him.
Hank or John?
Hank. And I'm just not a fan of his... Every TikTok, every video I've ever seen of him, I don't care. Like, I'm just not interested in what he has to say. But TikTok is just always pushing his content towards me, and I'm
okay, now I think this book is by Hank. But I was in Spain, and it was only released in the States. Mm-hmm. So I bought it in the States, shipped it to my parents' house, had my parents ship it to my friend's house.
It was an import.
And then my friend brought it to me, and then I haven't read it. And it took like, 4.5 weeks to get to me. And now it's back at its original location in Buffalo, New York. I haven't touched it. Signed.
The Sisterhood of the Traveling Hank Green book.
Traveling Hanky.
I like that.
Yeah. I was going to ask, do you think doing stand-up at all, well, because you perform too, like you do other stuff, the dancing on the weekends, and does any of that affect, is any of that affected by the anxiety, or do you think it helps? Because I get anxious before I go up, but in the terms of like, I'm about to go perform, not like, oh God, I can't go outside today.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
That's why I asked it.
No, the anxiety for me is
It'll
always
be your most disliked video.
No. It is a very good question, and one I think about a lot, because when I first started going to therapy, and I talked about how bad my anxiety is and has been in my past, that he's like, you're a musician? I'm like, yeah. He's like, and you perform? He's like, what's the first show I ever played was for my entire middle school. And he's like, how was that? I was like, fine. And he's like, what?
Fine. It went fine.
It did. It went totally fine. And I was 13, and I was a kid who literally was afraid to go to school.
Right.
But for some reason, I don't know. It
just clicks off for
performing a second. And the point you made about it might help with it. It might be a way for me to just
cope,
overcome it.
Yeah.
In a way, I don't know. But I don't, dude. I gotta say, the first time I ever did stand up at Nietzsche's, that was the first time I ever went up, and my legs were shaking the entire time I was up there.
I remember that.
I feel like that's just general nerves that anybody would experience, rather than actual the mental.
That's the thing.
It
is weird. It's it isn't. I'm not nervous to perform because I know how to do it, but it is just there is always that mild anxiety of I'm going in front of people and I'm going to say some stuff. Right. And whatever they react as is going to affect how well I feel after I say it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Besides that, I remember being very nervous the entire day of that show I did when I was in middle school. I have to sneeze. And I did that show it was 7th grade. I had 7th grade, which in West Seneca is when you start middle school. It's not, some school districts is 6th grade.
What is wrong?
Or some it's 5th grade.
This place.
West Seneca was 7th grade. I think they changed it now.
Yeah.
But 7th grade was when you started middle school. And I had been, at the school for maybe 3 months. And then I'm performing they had a middle school, it was a school of rock type program, where it was a teacher ran it. It was rock band.
Mr.
And it was
Schneebly?
No, his name was Mr. Olmsted. He's a good dude. He actually performs all around.
Oh, the guy that's playing
the reggae music
in Clarence.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
we at the show.
Yeah. He's a good dude, but he was a teacher at my middle school, and he ran this rock. It was called Rock Ed, and it was students would audition to get into it, and then they played events throughout the year. So I was in it, and I played guitar and sang in it as a 13-year-old, and
just voice.
Actually, I might have been 12. Wait, how old are you when you go into 7th? Yeah, I might have been 12. And,
12. Because then 8th grade's 13ish, and then
you
freshman's
right.
14.
My birthday's in March, so I always turned.
Your birthday's in my birthday's in March.
Is it really?
Your birthday's in March?
Are you fucking me? Your birthday's actually in March?
My birthday. I thought you knew this.
What is it?
It's March 31st.
Oh, well, it's the end of March. You're not a Pisces.
No, I'm an Aries, motherfuckers.
Yeah, now we know. No, so I remember doing that show and being very nervous, especially because we had to. I've never told this story before. We did covers, right? It was all.
Oh yeah, you're not writing good original music.
Right, we were teenagers, right? Yeah. So we would just do covers. So the one song we had been practicing was "Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap" by AC/DC.
Yeah.
And so we were going to do that song, and I was ready. I had it ready to go. And then the day of, my teacher pulls me into the classroom. He's like, "Hey, listen,
we're cutting it."
Well, no, he says the principal says we can't do this song because it's like about like
it's bad. It's
doing
not good.
crime.
Yeah.
And he was like, "So we're gonna change the lyrics," and he changed it to "Dirty Jeans Bought Dirt Cheap."
Oh, right.
And I was like, "This is fucking lame."
At 13, I knew.
Yeah, I was like, "This
lame.
is super fucking lame."
Yeah.
But I was like, but like the show must go on, you know? So I like, now I had to learn the words of a new song the day of the show. And it's my first show ever performing in front of people. And yeah, so that was really nerve-wracking. I remember being like in the auditorium. I remember being side stage before they, you know. So the thing was like each class there was a new rock band, right? Because like obviously there's a lot of turnover from 7th and 8th graders.
Yeah, if you're sticking around in middle school.
Right. So the kids who are now freshmen in high school, their edition of their era of the band was performing that night because they had songs prepared from the last few years.
Yeah.
We were still new.
Yeah.
And so like we only had a few songs, so they like brought us out in like the middle of it to do a couple songs. And I remember just being like side stage of the auditorium, just like freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
But then after that, I feel like generally I was like pretty okay with performing. I didn't get nervous a lot. I just liked doing it.
Yeah.
And then I mean there were some. I mean my one band played a battle of the bands at the arena during like a junior hockey game or something. It was really weird, but it was like a music is art thing. But there was like, it was like a packed.
Did you win?
Fucking no. We were the youngest band in the scene. We lost to a band called the what is that word?
Abominable?
Yeah. Abominable Killer Snowmen was the name of the band. And they won.
It's a good name.
That year. Yeah.
Probably a lot of people can't say
I think they were a
it.
ska band.
Shout out.
Shout out ska bands. So I remember being nervous for that. I remember fast forward to post prom playing the Town Ballroom with Penimento. I remember being nervous for that.
That was a big one.
But other than that, I mean, I was pretty chill about it, about performing. And then until I did stand up, then it was like a new thing because it was just like completely different.
Yeah. No, it's very different from that.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy how like you remove the guitar. I mean, even playing a song versus telling a joke is just a completely different. There's so much more weight on your shoulders of telling a joke because like, I don't know. I feel like a song is easier to get through than a joke.
Well, and that's the thing. That's like with music is you can play a song and you know that song is 3 minutes and 25 seconds. It doesn't matter what the crowd does during that part, because you're going to play 3 minutes worth of music. Right. Whereas like my act is written out to be 15 minutes. But if I say something and no one's laughing.
Right. It's going to go real quick.
It's a 5-minute act.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's very much based on the react. And it's also the opposite. Like sometimes it's annoying when they laugh.
Right.
Because you know, say like on a 5-minute set, you want to get through this much stuff. If they're laughing too much, you got to quick edit and cut out, you know, the middle of different things or like change different things. It's
you have to adjust on the fly a lot. Yeah. Same thing also at any point of telling a joke, somebody from the crowd can just yell anything, or somebody can walk in, or somebody spills a drink, and like you have to address it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where like, you know, that's not going to happen when you're playing a show.
Well, that was the video. Did you see the video I posted today?
Yeah.
That was like for context. I did a show at this place called Bayville the other weekend, and while telling a joke off to stage right, so you could tell I perform. I heard this woman say like, "What is University of Phoenix?" Like to the person next to her. She was whispering it, so she probably didn't think I was going to hear it. But I was just like, I heard that. I have to address this now because if I heard it, that means other people also heard it.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well now I messed up my beat. I'm stopping my beat to talk to you, and I somehow have to figure out how to get back to my beat for the joke that I'm trying to tell while also talking to you.
Right.
You know, because you can go off on a tangent, but you have to tie it back to whatever. Because I was like literally in the middle of a sentence, and I had to stop and be like, "Well, University of Phoenix is da 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 da." And I was like, "All right, well, you have like two different thoughts happening at the same time."
Yeah.
And it's
Here's the other thing too about that. Is,
like you could be playing a guitar and someone burps, and you can continue to play the guitar.
Right. Yeah, you're not gonna stop in the middle of the song. To
like, hey,
address
are
somebody
you
doing
okay?
it. Yeah. Same thing comparing like playing a song to telling jokes is that like when your friends come out to support you, like when they come out to support you to hear a song, they don't mind hearing that song the next time they see you. Where once you're telling these jokes, once the one person like in the crowd has heard it and then they come back and they hear it again, it's not funny to them anymore.
No, that's like on I think it was Kill Tony this week or a different episode I was watching. A girl got, her name got picked, and she went up and she did her set, and then she was like, "Tony, I saw you both days in this city." And Tony was like, "That's a comedian's worst nightmare.
Yeah,
is someone seeing them 2 days in a row."
Right, because you're just gonna hear the same.
You're gonna hear the same stuff,
which is not the same as hearing the same songs.
No. Like people follow Fish, and like people follow the Dead.
Yeah,
because to hear the same thing every day, but it's like no one's following.
In 2017, I went to four, maybe three, the 1975 shows in a row.
I went to two Every Time I Die shows in the same day.
Yeah. Were they the same set? They usually wouldn't be.
They wouldn't be, but there's some of the
I
same
saw the
music.
1975, I think it was 4 days in a row. And one in Rochester, twice in Niagara Falls, one in New York City. And it was the same set every time, but I had a fucking great time at every one. But I would never, ever want to see a comedian tell the same jokes.
Right. Imagine, I mean, like we were just at Sam Morril. Like imagine if we were at Sam Morril for the early, the late, the early, the late.
Yeah.
I mean, like there might be some variation, but overall it's going to be the same stuff.
Right.
It's like fucking, you can't do that.
Yeah, it's so weird. Comedy's such a weird thing.
It's bizarre. And then it's also like, it's the same thing. Like this, it's probably hashed out 100 times on 100 different podcasts. But it's like, when you write your song, like for post-prom, you can play that song until you die.
Right.
The only comedian I know who still does jokes from like his early years is Bert.
Right, doing the machine story. Yeah.
But even then, he doesn't like, I mean, he likes doing it because he gets paid. But like, he also probably doesn't like doing it because he's like, I have other stuff.
Right.
And like Gabriel Iglesias on one of his specials, his more recent specials, he's like, he does some older jokes. And the whole, it's at, fucking wherever, I don't know where the Bulls play in Chicago, whatever that arena's called, and the whole arena's like not singing along, joking, I don't know, whatever it's called,
finishing the jokes or whatever,
like with him, and like that's sick, but it's like
that's rare.
Yeah But it's like he didn't come out doing those jokes every time.
Yeah, it's super weird.
It's crazy.
Yeah, comedy is such a strange thing. I would say going back to like anxiety, like again, that first night my legs were shaking. I remember the entire time I was up there.
I remember you also like, I'm probably misremembering your words, but you basically, like you said, I have 5 minutes worth of stuff, and then I think you finished in 3.
Yeah.
Because you were like, yeah, I have 5.
I didn't even wait for the light. I was like, I'm out of here.
No. Yeah, you were like, yeah, I have 5. And in my head, I was like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
But then from there on, I was pretty like I got pretty comfortable pretty quickly with doing it until the first round of the Buffalo's Funniest. I remember sitting at one of the high top tables next to the curtain, and the first guy was going up, and my heart was beating through my chest like I've never experienced before.
And then he just murdered.
Yeah, he did not do well.
He did so well.
No. Yeah. So, but either way, I wasn't paying attention to him. My eyes were looking at him doing his set, but I was not.
That's it. Yeah.
Because it was just like adrenaline was just taking over my heart, dude. It was a crazy thing to feel. Like I remember, like in my head, being like, I've never felt this before. I'm just my heart absolutely racing. And then when I went up there, and my adrenaline completely took over. I like don't remember a lot of it.
That's the thing too, is like if we're ever out at a mic or at a show and like you or somebody else says like, oh, can you watch my set and like give me notes? If I haven't gone up yet, I do zone out because I'm running on what I'm going to say.
Right, yeah.
If I've gone up, then sure, I can pay attention 100%. But it's like until I go up, I can't focus on anything else.
Yeah.
And it's just like I zone in and out, and it's all.
I only get nervous if there's somebody there that I know that's not a comic. Like if like it's a friend of mine or somebody.
Yeah.
Or like somebody there who's not a comic. I
got over that a little bit because my parents came to see me for the first time at Bayville, and I was just like, I remember when they told me they were gonna come, I was like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to come. It's fine. I was like, I don't want any of this. And then I was like, yeah, who cares? You know, because when I'm hopefully, doing arenas one day, they're gonna come. Who I can't tell them not to go.
Right.
And then I just ran the set the way I would as if they weren't there, and it went fine. It went good. I was like, okay, there we go, all done. I don't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
If the only thing like is if there's a comic there that I know
Who
that
does
I
like
who does better than me.
Right.
And I was like, I need to do good.
Yeah.
But then half the time they're also not listening.
Right. See, that's my thing. So I have
care.
my, we both made it to the semifinals of Buffalo's Funniest. Yours is this Tuesday. So this episode will be out for a day before that happens.
Yeah.
And then mine is the week after, August 9th. And my mom, I was telling you this earlier, my mom decided to share it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And my mom's got like a lot of she's got like a crazy Facebook following of like my mom has 9 brothers and sisters, so like she's just a well-connected lady, right?
Yeah.
And she shared it, and was like, Aiden made it to the semifinals of this stand-up comedy contest, and it's the next round he's going to be in is on August 9th at Helium. And I just am seeing like it's got like 25 comments and like and all these people are liking it, and I'm like,
we don't
freaking
need
out
to do
internally,
this.
and I'm like, first of all, like I appreciate what you're trying to do,
Sure.
but it's like the last thing I want is a bunch of like middle-aged women,
Extended family,
right, showing up to Helium,
Yeah.
to see like who don't understand the comedy world,
No.
And then
Who whisper, what is the University of Phoenix?
Right.
In the middle of your joke.
Yeah. Or just like, if I say something,
Or if you just bomb.
yeah, I'll try to do terrible, or it's like, or everybody, because it's the semifinals of this contest, right?
Yeah.
Everybody else does really well.
And you're just there.
Right. And then like, I don't make it through, and then I have to hear all of them go, oh, you should have, we thought you were the best.
Yeah.
It's like, of course
Yeah.
you did. I'm the only person here that you know.
Yeah.
So
I'm the
I
only
just
one
like,
that you
I
relate
was like,
to.
Mom, can you please delete that?
Could
I
you
was like,
please
I don't
get
need,
that?
I don't want this happening. I don't need Aunt Susan coming to the show. She did text me and say that she was going to come, and I was
Shout
like,
out.
Please don't.
Shout out Susie.
No, that's okay.
It is one of those. It is like, it's like you need an audience.
Yeah, but
you
not
hate
that audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do?
Right.
When you're doing arenas, man, you just can't.
Yeah, like they love Jeff Dunham,
Honestly, is he that bad?
Yeah, and I got a joke about stepsister porn, so I'm not trying to do that for
It's
my
because you
mom's
grew
friends.
up with 5 brothers. You just don't know what it's like.
Yeah.
I don't have a stepsister either, but
Yeah.
No.
Sounds fun. Looks fun from what I can see.
from what I can tell from this very specific websites,
Yeah.
it looks like it's neat.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just introduce puppets to your act.
No.
I don't see why not. I mean, I'm not gonna do
Puppets
it.
are expensive.
Puppets are expensive.
Yeah.
Well, the guy, I won't use his name because he was actually very nice.
For Milky's the other one?
Yeah. It looks like a homemade puppet.
Yeah.
So
I saw a tweet from a friend today. So did you see that?
I
Yeah.
meant to respond to it.
I thought you
forgot.
would. Yeah, about that
I'll do
guy.
it. I'll do it after this.
Yeah.
Off with the photo.
just probably like, he's really nice, actually.
Exactly.
Once you get to know him,
The thing was not my cup of tea
right?
at all
Sure.
in any way.
Yeah.
But he stayed the whole time, apparently. I left shortly after he started. No, I did leave after his set. But apparently, from what I heard from other people, is that he stayed the entire time. Like he sat and watched
Every comic.
every comic and was nice.
You gotta respect that. Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like for those that are unaware, there's an open mic at Milky's, and that one starts late and ends later. And it's like you've gone up at like midnight. I've gone up around midnight, 12:30
most of the time.
And it's like it just
and then
goes.
to work at 8 the next morning.
And the thing is, like when we go up at midnight, we're not the last person.
Yeah.
There's still a baker's dozen worth of people after.
Right. Like I got there early to get on the midnight spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like he stayed the whole time. It was like happy, was cool. So good for him. He's doing stuff at the Infringement Festival. If anybody's
What is that?
Infringement?
Yeah.
It's the Buffalo version of Fringe.
What's that?
You don't know Fringe? Buddy. Welcome to the world. Edinburgh Fringe is the largest.
The clown convention?
No. The Edinburgh. I wish. No, it's the largest performing arts festival in the world.
Okay.
It's the entire month of August in Edinburgh.
Whoa.
Scotland.
Yeah. Oh, I know what it is. I know where Edinburgh is.
And like people rent theaters to do spots at 3 p.m. for the entire month.
Yeah.
And there's so much happening. It's like for comics, it's like it's where you debut your hour.
Oh, wow.
Hannibal Buress has a special that he recorded while he was there.
Oh, I've seen that.
Alex Edelman won an award there.
That was the Fringe Festival?
Correct.
Okay, wow.
It's
I've seen Hannibal's special from that, yeah.
It's apparently I if I was in Europe I would have been there this year, but it's absolutely bonkos because it's just stuff all day, 24 hours happening.
Yeah.
And it's that's where the whole never cancel a show comes from, because that's where industry goes. Like BBC people from Netflix, people from any type of industry go there.
Really?
Yeah, because that's where you see the new talent. That's where you see the hours. That's where you see up and comers and writers, and because there's plays, there's musicals, there's short things, there's improv, there's comedy, there's everything. And
so we have a mini version of that in Buffalo?
It's not anywhere near the same.
That's just that one guy.
No, it is. It's this weekend up until next weekend, I believe, and it's just stuff around like Allentown, that kind of area. And there's a couple improv things at there's a small theater somewhere near like 40 Thieves, I want to say, or Thin Man. There's a big old asterisk next to this portion because I am fully unaware. Because my friend Max, mother friend Max, is a DJ, and he DJ'd a set at the Infringement Festival once, and I went and saw it. And like, there's music stuff, there's all that, but it is I don't know, like you see something really cool somewhere else, and you're like, let's do that here.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Kansas City has a Fringe Fest, which has been going on for a few weeks, and a guy I know from New York has been down there. Rochester has one, which I have to believe is comparable to Edinburgh. No, not to talk too much shit, but it's basically
talking shit about Rochester is funny because it's like we're not that much better, you know.
Talking shit about Rochester is funny because it's all accurate information. Rochester, like, I've spent so much time in Rochester, and like I have a lot of friends in Rochester, but it is the weirdest place to me.
I like Rochester. It's a good time.
But it's
I've
like,
only been there a handful of times though.
Like my sister lives there, and like she was away, so I was cat sitting, and like on a map, because I went to go do some mics, and I was like, oh, like this mic looks like it's kind of far away on the map. It was like around the corner. Like everything in Rochester on a map looks like it's far away.
The way their city is set up is very strange.
But then in reality, it's like down the street.
Yeah.
And it's like the downtown area of Rochester is 6 buildings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, they're like, oh, well, like we'll go out downtown. I was like, where?
Yeah.
Macy's. Like, what are you doing?
They got a Macy's?
I don't know.
Oh.
I didn't think you were gonna pick up on that part of the.
Of course. If you're gonna say there's a Macy's in Rochester, I'm there.
It's a weird. I don't know. It's better than Syracuse, but
that's true.
Syracuse. Well, you're going to Syracuse on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
There you go. We're time traveling now. Yeah.
Did you have a good time in Syracuse? No.
I guess we'll find out.
Syracuse is neat. I mean, I lived in Syracuse for school, and like it's a cool place when you're in college. But then once you're out of college, you realize it's different.
Yeah. I've only been to Syracuse once, and it was to play a show.
Yeah.
And I got super drunk before we played.
That checks out.
And but our set was at 3 p.m.
Do you know where?
Yeah, it was at some art space.
Spark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fun show.
I saw 68 play there.
Whoa, that's super sick.
That was cool.
Yeah. No, this was the Nick Berger birthday show. You ever been to one of those?
No.
Do you know who Nick Berger is?
I do know Nick Berger.
Okay. Well, he used to have an annual birthday show in Syracuse.
Yeah.
And we played one year, and I got drunk before our set, which was at 3 p.m.
That makes sense.
And I started going on a rant about the internet for some reason in the middle of our set.
Aiden going on a rant about something, especially something like the internet.
and then Devin, the drummer.
Devin's playing shots, right?
Yeah. Devin got into the mic, which he doesn't usually do.
Does not.
And told me to shut up in front of our audience of 6 people. And I was like,
honestly,
all right. And played the rest of the show. So,
well, you know, art space.
Yeah.
That's I went to that. Yeah, I saw 68 at that venue, and it is just like DIY, like kind of art space.
Yeah.
And
it's a cool spot.
It's a cool spot, but there's no bathroom in the room. You have to go like into the building, which is like a weird kind of semi-rundown apartment building. And there, I was like, oh, this is a funny Hard Times title article kind of thing. So I sent it to them. It was just like some stupid, like, oh, DIY art space doesn't have bathroom, whatever. They did not answer.
Yeah, that adds up.
Just stack that up under the list of other emails I've sent places that just did not respond.
Happens most of the time. Almost all the time.
Almost every time.
Yeah.
Unless like it's important.
Yeah.
It's just whoop, bye-bye.
I feel like everything I've ever submitted for in my life
gone
is just like doesn't get
out
responded.
there.
Yeah. Actually, what's super funny is that just unlocked my memory. Remember Highlights magazine?
Yeah.
So yeah. So I used to get those as a kid.
Are you in it?
No, I wanted to be though.
Yeah.
What's funny about this is that they had like a joke section.
Sure.
Of like kids could submit jokes, and I remember sending in a joke. And
do you remember the joke?
No, but I remember sending it in, and I remember just every month when that new Highlights magazine came in for like years, I checked, and I'm just like, I don't think
for too long.
I don't think. Yeah, I still check it every once in a while just to make sure.
It'd be funny if like they just had like it in a stack, and they're like, we have to get through these first. Like we'll put every joke in there,
right?
But we have to get through these ones first.
Yeah, it's gonna take 20 years. Yeah,
that's I sent a letter to the editor for Transworld Skateboarding because I got my skateboard taken away at middle school because we weren't allowed to like have them on the property or something. Like I don't know, something was freaking weird. And I wrote a very angsty like 12 or 13-year-old email about how they violated my rights as a skateboarder. And
classic.
My mom was like, "You shouldn't send that." She was like, "You should probably like edit this first." And I was like, "No, Mom, I'm a punk.
Yeah,
this is me.
Right. Mom, don't tell me how to write my angry emails.
Don't tell me how to write my email.
Yeah.
About my dumb teachers.
Right.
Who took my skateboard.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, skateboarding.
How long did you skateboard for?
Not very.
Yeah.
I was not very good at it.
Neither was I, but I never quit.
Yeah.
I still do it every once in a while. I still got it in the garage, and on a nice day, I'll still break it out.
I have one in the garage.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, my foot, I wear a size 16 shoe.
Right. What size board do you get? You probably gotta get it like 10.
I usually get the 8.
An 8? I do an 8.5.
No, 8's not the right number.
You gotta do a 9.
No, yeah, it's definitely the big one. I think, yeah.
I think the biggest I've ever seen is 9.25.
I think I had a 9.
Yeah.
But I still have so much. Like I have a lot of overhang on both.
Right.
On both sides.
Yeah, I'm a 12, and but a 8.5 is my. Well, you know what's crazy is it took me super long to figure that out. Like I didn't understand that board sizes were a thing.
It's super important.
Yeah, and I was riding like a 7 forever, and I always was like had big feet.
That's the thing. Like also for the trucks, like my trucks were always like pretty tight, but I was always a bigger kid.
Yeah.
So I could, if it were too loose, I would
Right.
fall off. So when they were tight, I rode it as if it was loose because I could flex it.
Yeah.
And then anyone who would like use my board couldn't turn it.
Yeah, so my childhood best friend who lived 2 houses down from me was like a very gifted skateboarder, still is. He's very, very good. And so he was just advancing. We started around the same time, and he was just advancing like nonstop. But he also did it all day, every day. Like he was upset. As anything that you want to be good at is, if you do it all the time, you're gonna get good at it.
Yeah.
And I just didn't, because I have not changed in 15 years.
That's the thing. I was never good, so I never.
Well, my thing is that I had a bunch of passions. Like I loved playing music, and there's all different things that I enjoyed doing. So I wasn't going to dedicate all of my time to skateboarding.
Right.
So I'd never get any better. So like it's like working out. It's like if you stop doing it for a while, once you get back to it, you're going to be sore as fuck for a while until you get into a habit, and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm pretty good at this. Yeah. I've got this down or whatever. But so like, I just was never that good at skateboarding. But there was, it might have been during the pandemic that I just like, I finally was like, well, I got nothing fucking to do. I just took it out into like the front of my parents' house, like in the street there, and just rode it around. And
that was the thing. Like in Spain, since it's nice weather almost every day all year. Every day I was outside, I was like, yeah, I should start skateboarding again. And there's also like a really cool skateboard culture like in Barcelona.
Oh, I believe it.
And I just never fucking did it.
Yeah.
Because I was always afraid of getting like the 13-year-old in me was like, those guys are a lot better than me. Yeah. And they're going to judge me. Yeah. And so I just never.
Right. So that was the biggest thing too, is like we'd go to skate parks and my buddy was always really good. Yeah. And so like, but I was so nervous. You know what I mean? That was another anxiety thing that I was like, I don't want to get in anybody's way. I don't want, I had this very low self-esteem that I was just like, I don't want people to know I'm bad at this.
I can ollie onto a rail, but I cannot stay on the rail.
Yeah. Yeah. My thing was like, I wish I could just build like a ramp in my backyard that I could skate on and nobody can see me.
Just drain the pool.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be fire. I know the next door neighbors have actually a cement pool, and we always wanted to drain their pool and skate it. We got really into Lords of Dogtown when that movie came out.
Have you ever watched King of the Road?
Yeah, of course.
I was watching that recently.
I love King of the Road. Yeah,
when they were like on the Vice season, when they were with Salva. And they were skating in the fucking pools up in like Upland. Yeah. I was like, that's so sick. Yeah. That's so fucking cool.
That show was awesome. And it was like shit like that, like watching skate videos and stuff like that is always what made me want to skate. I loved skate culture. I literally used to subscribe to Thrasher and like CCS, and I would get all the magazines. And
I remember we were watching Lakai Fully Loaded in like 2007, 2008. So fire. And we're just like, dude, let's go fucking skate. And it was like 10 p.m. and we had like a work light and we just put it out on the street.
We used to do that shit all the time. Yeah. My buddy had a bunch of like ramps and stuff in his driveway, and it was, I loved it, man. I mean, I love skateboarding, and I still love it. And like I said, I never really quit. It's just like every once in a while. Yeah. When it's nice out, I usually like as soon as it's like post winter, it's like, oh, it's nice out again. I can do stuff outside. It's like, yeah, I'll go ride around, you know, and just get comfortable on the board again, pop a few ollies, and
rip a couple tricks.
It always feels good.
It is good.
Yeah,
it is fun. Maybe one day.
Yeah,
I'll get back to it.
I just like having it. There was a while where I just kept it in my car just in case,
In case you're trying to rip.
Yeah. When we went on tour in the fall, I brought it with me and never used it once. Actually, it's not true. On like day 1 or 2. I like pulled it out in the parking lot of the hotel we were staying at and just like whipping it around, and then I never used it again.
Right, so I remember going to like Warped Tour, and I would see people like bands like getting from their van to the venue like on their skateboard, and I was like,
dude, how sick. Crazy. Remember at Warped Tour how they had a full-on half pipe?
Yeah.
And I just remember watching it, and I'm like, dude, there's people who literally bought a ticket to Warped Tour and brought their skateboard into the venue just to skate all day.
They don't care about Warped Tour.
Right.
They wanted to skate.
Right. They just want to skate this huge.
Did you ever go to the Zoomies couch tour?
I don't think so, no.
I didn't go the one time because I was a dum-dum. But it was a Zoomies demo tour basically that went around. And I remember the one time I was at the Zoomies in the Eastern Hills Mall. Shout out. And it was coming like in the coming weeks, and I was talking to the guy, and he's like, yeah, dude, Zoomies couch tour, they'll be skating for most of the day, and then the concert. And I was like, oh, who's on the show? And this is like, I don't know these bands at this point. I'm just like trying to be sick. And he's like, Polar Bear Club.
Whoa.
And With the Punches.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, dude, that sounds really cool. I don't know who these people are.
Right.
And now, like,
you
now
didn't
that
go.
I like those bands, I'm like, I should have fucking gone. That would have been sick.
Right.
See them play at a fucking Eastern Hills Mall parking lot or gallery. I don't remember which mall. Either way, it would have been
Damn,
tight.
that sounds sick. I've never even heard of that. The Zoomies couch tour.
Sick.
Yeah,
And like that was like the whole, like one of the rails was like an orange couch.
Oh, okay.
You trick off of it.
Yeah.
Creative people.
It is crazy. The skateboarding like culture of like how it became like such a pop culture, like or part of like mainstream culture in like the 2000s was just nuts.
Just Bam.
Yeah. Well, I mean Tony Hawk too, and the video games and stuff. Bam was part of it for sure.
Yeah. But I think Tony was definitely on the bringing it in side, and then Bam was on the
Well, Jackass in general too. Yeah.
And just that whole like Bucky Lasik, fucking Eric Costin.
Isn't it Lasik? Is it LASIK?
It might be LASIK.
Oh, okay. I was like, have I been saying it wrong my entire life? One of us has been.
Up. I have his Black Label board in the garage, so I hope I said it right. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those dudes.
I was always a big Danny Way guy and a big Rodney Mullen guy.
Danny Way's wild.
Yeah. Danny Way just always was doing like crazy big air shit, and I love that shit.
He was on the King of the Road, and his fucking setup, his wheels are like that big, and like his thing is super loose, and he's just crazy.
I love King of the Road. I like discovering a lot of the new skaters. Like I remember the one season years ago, I discovered Jamie Foy.
Foy boy.
Yeah, he's awesome. I loved watching Jamie Foy because he was like this big dude on a skateboard.
He was thick.
Yeah, but he murders.
That's the thing. Growing up, all the skaters were skinny.
Yeah.
So I never saw myself. And now Foy Boy's out there.
Yeah, I mean, crushing
doing
it.
good.
Yeah. He's got to deal with Dickies.
Yeah. Fuck Axel Kreisberg.
Yeah, Axel is sick too. Yeah.
He's out there.
Yeah. That was the same season.
Married to Lizzie Armato now.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know. I think she was on that season too. Next season?
She was on like 2014 King of the Road.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Maybe she was like a guest on one of the seasons.
She was in the
this is the most boring.
No, it's fine.
To anybody who's not into skateboarding, this has to be nothing to any of you.
She was on the award ceremony episode. She came out. Yeah. Because that's when Axel went amateur.
I love Vice TV, and I wish that the app was more available because it's only available on Apple TV and Roku.
Have you? You want to talk about boring? I've recently been trying to log into Vice online because we have cable at the house,
thing,
and some of the episodes just don't load. It just makes like a sound.
It's a very poorly developed app for sure, but the content they have is amazing. That's what makes me so mad. Vice TV is rules. Maddie Matheson's shows are awesome.
Yeah. I met Jamali Maddox from Hate Thy Neighbor.
Oh, no way.
In LA.
Hate Thy Neighbor is a sweet show,
really
dude. Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia. You ever watch that one?
I don't do drugs.
Oh, I do.
That stuff just doesn't look. I've probably seen it in passing, but it's never just been anything that I would sit down and watch.
It's a really good show.
I'd watch
he's like a chemist and goes into like the biological like what the drugs are actually doing that are making you feel like that, and then like he does, and then goes to like the origins of where they came from and how they became popular, and then he does them and like explains in like a very scientific
I think
way
that's
of
the
what's
thing
going
that's
through,
just
which
like
I think is sick.
That stuff is just lost on me completely. I just didn't. I don't know. It never clicked.
All right, man. What else you want to talk about?
I don't know.
You don't drink?
I don't drink. I don't do any of that.
When did the stomach ulcer thing happen?
2015.
Okay.
I stopped drinking before my 21st birthday.
Damn.
Yeah. I've had like.
Did you like drinking?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
It's part of the problem.
Interesting.
Well, you drink too much, it puts a hole in your stomach, I guess.
Yeah.
2015. The thing was, like, when it started, we didn't know what was going on. I just thought, like, I went out the night before. It really like kicked in, and like I remember I was drinking. I hadn't drank yet, and I had a Bud Light, and I threw up in my mouth.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, one Bud Light. Yeah.
So
something's not enough.
So I stopped because the thing was, at that time the flu was going around, And a lot of my friends were getting sick, and I was like, we're
Sure.
seeing each other. Maybe I just have the flu. And then the next day I woke up, and I was just like sweaty, just drained. I looked
From one Bud Light.
Yeah, I looked like aggressively hungover, and I
Yeah.
felt like trash, and I had to go to work. And I worked at a ski shop, and I just remember like I had this one customer doing a boot fit, and the thing like with the boot fit is that you're standing up and you're squatting and you're bending over
Right.
a lot.
Which will fuck with you. Yeah.
And so I was doing that, and I was like, I'm gonna throw up on this guy. And I remember going back by the service desk, and one of the kids was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Absolutely not. Something's wrong." And I went to the bathroom, and I would like wash my face, and I would like do everything. And the guy finally left, and I went up to my manager like, "Can I go home? I don't feel good in any way, shape, or form." And he's like, "You don't look good." I was like, "I'm gonna just go now." And then I didn't feel good for about 8 days, to the point where I didn't eat. Because like everything I ate either caused me to feel extremely nauseous or just gave me aggressive like bathroom problems.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't eat. I ate crackers and water, and I lost like 6 pounds.
At
10
what
pounds
point did you decide to go to the doctor?
when I felt better, because it kind of went away. The thing was, because everything I was
8 days, bro?
listen, everything
You didn't go to a doctor?
no, because everything I was experiencing felt like the flu.
Okay.
You
8
know.
days?
Well, I was like, it's a long flu. I don't know.
Dude, 8 days is insane to not go to a doctor. I've gone to a doctor after 3.
No, okay, so listen. I went to the doctor on like day 9, and I told them my symptoms, and they said, yeah, that sounds like the flu. And I was like, all right, that checks out. Because I felt good enough that I could, do stuff. I was still going to class and stuff. I just wasn't like doing anything after extracurricular or whatever. And then I remember I went to like Chipotle or something, and I got something that was spicy, and it just hurt.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is happening to me? And so I stopped eating spicy stuff, because I was like, spicy stuff makes hurt. All done. Can't do that. And then I drank a beer, and I was like, okay, also pain. Something's going on currently. And like my dad has that gallbladder stuff, and like my mom's side of the family has like gastrointestinal stuff. So I was like, I'm dying.
Sure.
I can't eat. I can't drink. So I cut out everything that made it hurt. And so I was eating just like chicken and rice and like vegetables.
So we would give my dog when he would get sick.
Similar.
Then he died.
But I went to, I told my mom, I was like, hey, something's not right.
Sure.
And she was like, you're correct. And I went to a specialist here in Buffalo, because we thought stomach issue, gallbladder, it's all in that realm. So I had to fast for a good amount of time, and then I had to sign a waiver because they were injecting me with a radioactive isotope. And I had to sign a waiver saying I wouldn't try to leave the country or go through like a security checkpoint, because I would set off the alarm for radioactivity for 24 hours.
Wild.
Which I thought was cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
And then we watched, it was like, because I was like laying down this like a scanner, and they were following it through my track or whatever it was. Fine. No blockage, which is great, except for I still hurt, so like whatever. And the thing, like my mom was trying to explain, like New York healthcare, they don't do the invasive stuff until it's needed.
Right.
Because like I was like, why can't they just put a tube down there and see it?
Yeah.
And she was like, well, they could, but
money.
And so like I did a whole bunch of other tests, went to a whole bunch of other places. Have you ever had to do, this is fun, have you ever had to do a stool sample?
No.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, I believe it.
My mom was like, just put it in brown paper, like put it in the container and then put it in a brown paper bag, and then take it to the place, and they'll, they understand.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, cool, they get it. And I do that, and I put it on the counter. I was like, this is a stool sample. And she goes, did you say stool sample? I was like, yep.
Waiting room full of people.
Well, and then she just takes it out. I was like, yep.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck.
That shit.
I was like, lady, what are you doing?
She calls some guy. She's like, Frank, take this to the shit room.
And then I finally went to like a gastroenterologist, and she was like, yeah, you probably have stomach ulcers. And I was like, cool. And she goes, they're not perforated because you're still here. And I was like, wow. that's a lot.
That's a wake up call.
She's like, well, she's like, you would be in extreme pain because
Yeah.
like your stomach acid would be directly touching your lining. And I was like, yeah, I guess that's fair. And then she was like, you know, she was like, explain your diet. And I was like, you know, like 6 coffees on an empty stomach. What do you mean?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, you idiot.
That'll burn a hole in your stomach.
Because I would do that, and then I would get like a spicy chicken sandwich, and then I would just drink on like the weekends.
Honestly, sounds pretty fire.
It was great. It worked for 20 years.
6 coffees, a spicy chicken sandwich, and beer.
Yeah. And then
sign me up.
She just signed, like, she gave me a prescription for bona fide Prilosec. Like, that's all it is. And I just stopped drinking, and I stopped eating red meat, and I stopped eating kind of spicier foods for like 6 months. And then she was like, all right, you're good to go. I was like, how could you fucking know that? And then I stopped taking the medicine, and I had an extreme migraine. And I'd never had a migraine before in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had one either.
And then it happened, and she was like, all right, well, let's do this. And so I did the upper endoscopy where they put the tube down your throat. And she was like, yeah, they're still there a little bit. So I'll just keep taking this for another 2 months, and you're good to go. And the endoscopy, they knock you out.
Yeah.
But right before I knocked out, the nurse was like, hey, it's Bad Joke Wednesday. Tell us a bad joke. And I said, what do you call an alligator in a vest?
An investigator.
An investigator. Out.
Yeah.
And then my dad said when I came to, I don't remember coming to, because like, have you ever come on anesthesia?
I have.
You know how like there's that like 10-minute gap where you're actually awake but you don't remember being awake?
Sure.
I told a long-winded joke about a carrot. and he said the people around us, because you know you're in the big recovery room.
Right.
He's like, the people around us were like, is he fucking okay?
Yeah. No, this dude's shot. Yeah. When I had major surgery done, they gave me anesthesia, and I don't remember like going under.
Yeah.
But they were like taking me into the room, and my mom was like, all right, we'll see you when you're done or whatever. And I just I don't remember this at all, but I was just like, Mom, Hakuna Matata. She goes, what? And I go, it means no worries.
Yeah.
And then I passed the fuck out. And then the next thing I remember was waking up in the recovery room. It was like out of a video game where like everything's like blurry, and you just hear like boop, boop, boop. My dad's like reading a book in the corner.
Yeah.
My mom's sitting on her phone, and I'm sitting there, and I like don't realize what's going on at all.
Right.
But there's just wires and tubes and all
Yeah.
shit. And then I have an oxygen mask on, and I just had abdomen surgery.
Yeah.
And I sneeze.
Ooh.
It's the first thing that happens. And I have an oxygen mask on. So I sneeze.
Into the mask.
Right. So now there's just fucking grossness all over my oxygen mask.
Yeah.
And also the worst pain ever in my abdomen. And I just was like, oh.
Just wake up.
Just, yeah. The worst way to fucking come out of that ever. Because I remember waking up being like, what the fuck is going on? And then, yeah.
Because the nurse is probably like telling her dad, like, oh, make sure he doesn't like sneeze or do anything weird.
There's one thing that he shouldn't do, and that's sneeze. Yeah.
But that was when I got to the hospital, you know how they make you sign all those waivers,
Sure.
like if you die, it's not our fault, and all that fun stuff.
Sign.
The nurse. She was trying to find a vein for the IV.
Yeah.
And I can't look at for some reason, like I can do tattoos perfectly fine, but if I see a needle going into my body,
I'm so used to it at this point. Yeah, I'm so used to it.
So I looked away. I knew that was gonna happen, so I looked away, and she was doing it, and she just goes, And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Couldn't find a vein?
Apparently the valve wasn't opening, like in your vein.
Okay.
So she's like, I gotta check another one, and I looked, and
yeah.
I started to pass out, and so they leaned me back. And the anesthesiologist came over. He's like, hey, you know, my name's Dr. Whatever. I'm your anesthesiologist today. I need to just make a couple adjustments before we start, and then we'll be good to go. And my dad was like, what kind of adjustment? Like, just final checks? And he's like, they put the sheet out for the next day, the day before, like who's going to be coming and what I need to prepare for. And it said, for you, max 20M, which I thought was a 20-month-old. and you're a 20-year-old male who's 6'6",
Yeah.
200 and something pounds. So I just gotta
make a few slight adjustments.
I was like, I hope you're good at
Yeah.
your job, you dick.
I would hope so. They're the highest paid doctors.
I hope.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I don't eat meat, red meat.
So
Or
wait, so
drink.
you still have said ulcer?
No, they're gone.
Oh,
I have I think it's I'm more
so you could drink
susceptible.
at this point.
Yeah. I've had 6 drinks in the last 6 years.
One a year, every New Year.
It's just
Yeah.
Yeah. I just did. The thing was I stopped. I needed to not drink to fix it, and then I went back to school because it was going into my junior year of college, and I went to parties and stuff, and I was fine. I was like, I don't need to drink to have fun. And then it just kind of was like, what if I just kept not doing it?
Yeah, I guess.
And it was I lost a bunch of weight, partially because I stopped eating, partially because I wasn't doing that. And then I was I was saving money. Because the thing was I wasn't an alcoholic.
Yeah. I mean, I
But
stopped drinking for 8 months leading
Yeah.
up to the pandemic. And I probably would have stopped forever if the pandemic didn't happen.
Yeah.
But you put me in a house with my brothers for more than a week.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, somebody give me a fucking beer.
That's the thing. During the pandemic, I would text my friends and be like, I get why you guys drink.
Yeah.
I understand it now.
Yeah, it was tough. But yeah, I stopped drinking for 8 months, but it was just because I had some mental shit I had to figure out that I was just always masking with alcohol that was just making it worse.
Yeah.
And I started to work through that. And now I have a really good relationship with alcohol where
Going out on dates.
What? Oh, me and alcohol going on? That was bad. No, don't even do that to
I'm going to
yourself.
listen to the comedy podcast, guys.
Yeah. No, for me, it's it's very rare that you'll see me drunk.
Yeah.
I was just in New Orleans for a bachelor party, so obviously got pretty drunk there, but
Different.
was far from the drunkest person on the trip.
Yeah.
I'm going on vacation in a few weeks. Besides that, on occasion, I'll
Yeah.
get drunk, but for the most part, it's I'm going out, I'll have a couple beers. You know what I mean? With dinner, usually, too.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So, but I'm glad to have gotten that point because it was tough coming from Fredonia where it's just drink as much as you possibly fucking can until you pass out.
Well, that's fine. That was Syracuse, too.
Yeah.
Curtis. No, I think Curtis is a bit of probably not the best person to quote. Curtis Lepore from Ghost Ship.
Okay.
It's a hardcore. It's a straight edge band from Syracuse.
Gotcha.
And they have a song called Cold Truth, which they filmed at the Strong Hearts in Syracuse.
Oh, no shit.
And at the beginning of the video, Curtis is saying, Syracuse is a half blue collar, half college town, which adds up to a lot of drinking all the time.
Yeah.
Which is 100% accurate.
Right.
Because it is just it's one of the biggest universities in the country.
Yeah.
And a blue collar working town. So there's bars everywhere.
Right.
There's beer. There's everything available at all times.
Yeah.
Which is good if you're into that sort of thing. But it's also somehow Syracuse is also the straight edge vegan capital
Yeah, that is
of the
nuts.
world.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that's why the straight edge movement did so well there because of that
Right.
environment.
Yeah, if you have a town that's a bunch of
Yeah.
people who just love binge drinking, you're gonna have a few people that don't, and they're gonna need
Yeah.
some sort of community of people that don't.
So you just
probably,
shout and punch some people.
there you go.
But I'm not edge. Never claimed it.
Yeah, good.
Not,
Good for you.
Not
I
against
think you should
it.
start smoking weed again. It's really fun.
I'm all right.
All right.
I've made it this far.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
I'll do crack.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that.
Crack is. I don't even
Crack is
understand.
whack, kids.
Is it?
I have to assume.
Yeah. No. It for sure.
It
It's-
ruins.
ruins lives.
Teeth.
Absolutely. Yeah. Teeth at the minimum. Yeah.
That's like meth too.
Right.
The biggest thing with meth is that you lose all your teeth.
Yeah.
And you go into psychosis, but
Right.
teeth. Meth Mouth. There's a band from Syracuse called Meth Mouth.
That's a fucking sick band.
I have a hat and it says Meth Mouth
Meth
across the
Mouth
top.
is fire.
That's a good name.
I love that. But yeah, that's how. Fredonia was just
It's party.
dude. I lived across the street from the bar that my best friend was
Yeah.
a bartender at, and it was just yeah, every fucking weekend. It was it was tough to graduate and move home and adjust to
Yeah.
Every time I drank, it was like, oh, I'm not drinking to get drunk. It's like, what do you mean? That's the only thing I know how to do.
That's the thing, like with
So
Spain
that's why I
too.
had to stop. Yeah.
Like Spain, the drinking culture in Europe, apart from like the UK and Ireland, is pretty relaxed.
Yeah.
You know, you have a couple of drinks just to get through it all, just to chill. But like in Spain, I would stay out till 4 or 5 in the morning at clubs. And people were like, how are you doing this? And I was like, well, not well. I'm tired.
Right.
But like, I could see, you know, you see where it fits in.
Yeah.
Like, I could definitely stay out till 7
Right.
if I had a couple drinks in me.
Sure.
But I'm going to go home at 6 instead.
How'd you end up in Spain?
On a plane. No, when I was graduating college, I didn't know what to do, but I knew because I've been working at camps since I was like 16. And I remember one of my directors said one of his old colleagues or one of his old staff worked at a camp in France. And so I hit him up. I was like, hey, do you remember the name of that place in France? And he was like, yeah, send me all the info. And it was an English immersion camp for French kids. And so that's where I got a job there. And I remember I graduated May 14th or 15th, and I was on a plane to the UK on May 17th. I just fucking skipped town. And then I ended up I worked in France for 70 some odd days. I was in the south of France. It was absolutely beautiful.
Sounds amazing.
But while I was there, I met my friend Jake, he's the one that got me into comedy. But he was teaching English in Madrid, and he was like, you should check this out if you want to keep Europing. And then I just applied to it. I got a teaching English certificate, like a 400-hour course. I think 400 or 250. I don't remember. It didn't come into play very often. And then I just taught English for 2 years in Madrid, and it was great. And then the good old pandemic happened, and I had a slight mental breakdown, and I shaved my beard off, and then
I shaved my head during the pandemic. Yeah.
And then I ended up in Sevilla, and I did my master's, and I picked that master's because online it said English and Spanish, which was a bold-faced lie.
Yeah.
It was just Spanish. So I had to I spoke Spanish pretty well, but I had to speak it better.
Yeah.
And I
You had to learn
up,
like the dialects of the local area and shit like
I just
that.
had to learn it. I just had to be able to use it without thinking.
Right.
Because the thing is, like, when I was using Spanish before, like, you still kind of think about it.
Right.
I had to have it to a point where it was just the language that I spoke.
Conversational, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, there's probably no other way to learn it than just getting fucking...
Just jumping right in.
Yeah. And just having no choice but to figure it out. Yeah.
Just doing postgraduate level material.
Yeah.
But I remember I was doing a reading once, and I saw a word. Because, like, in Spanish, the verbs end in AR, ER, and IR.
Right.
And I saw this word that said almuñecar. And I texted my friends. I was like, I think I learned a new word. Almuñecar, almuñeco, almuñecas, da, da, da. And they were like, oh, you mean Almuñécar, the city in the south of Spain?
Not a verb. Yeah.
Missed that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I wrote a 75-page paper in Spanish and passed, which was wild.
There you go.
And then I was in Barcelona doing an internship, and then some visa stuff happened, and here we are. And now we're working it out.
And so you started doing stand-up in Spain.
Yeah, I started doing stand-up in English in Spain.
Right.
My first show, I think, was February 2020, technically. It was genuine. Like, it was. I didn't think it was gonna happen because my friend Jake did it almost weekly, bi-weekly for sure, and I would just go to them just because he would get me in for free, and I like hanging out with comics, and then he was like, just because I was like, oh yeah, I'll get up one day, I'll do it one day, and he basically was just like, either do it or shut up.
Right.
Because he's like, you're either going to do it or you're not.
Right.
Just fucking pick one.
Which is the same advice you gave to me when I was talking about starting.
Yeah. It's good advice. And then I was like, fine, I'll do it. And so I texted him, put me in contact with a booker, and it happened, and I got on the show. It was a benefit show for this refugee organization, So I was like, oh yeah, it won't be that filled. It'll be fine. It'll be whatever. And it was an 80-person room, sold out.
Damn.
And I went second to headliner.
Whoa.
And I was like, I only have 5 minutes. And they were like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm not going to give you 10. Here's 5. And then I did 2 Yo Mama jokes because I was talking to Jake. I was like, would it be funny if I just did 5 minutes of Yo Mama jokes? And he was like, absolutely not.
Right.
It would not do anything. And it went well. It went well. I think because she introduced me as this is Max. This is his first time going up.
Right.
And because it went well. And I had material.
Sure.
So it wasn't like I didn't bomb.
Right.
But I remember being up there, my hand was like going. And I remember she lighted me at 4, and the light, I blanked completely. I stood there for like a good 10 seconds in silence because I was just like, ah. And then I was booked on another show set up to do March 13th or 14th, 2020. And that was the day Spain closed.
Damn, dude.
So it got canceled. And then I didn't do another set until I think October 1st, 2021 when I was in Barcelona.
Yeah, that's wild to start right there.
Yep.
Yeah. Which was around the time that I was thinking of starting as well.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah, then the pandemic hit, and I was like, I'm going to hold off on this for a while. And then when you came back, I was like, all right, I'm going to lean on Max here to figure this out.
Yeah.
I started coming to some open mics and saw some people do horribly.
That's the thing is, like, once you see someone do, like, I mean, once you see someone do bad, once you see a good person do bad,
yeah,
you're like, I could do that.
Right.
If you see someone who's bad consistently,
yeah,
it's not that good.
But even if it is, for me, it's like more of like, oh, they have the confidence to go up there. Why shouldn't I?
Correct.
You know? But yeah, when you see a good person do bad, you're like, oh, I mean, that's the worst that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that, I mean, very similar to yours. Like, I had that really good set in Madrid, and then I went to Barcelona, and I planned 5 minutes, and I finished it in 3. And then I was just like, all right, all done. Yeah. And I was like, I hate everything.
Right.
I'm terrible. And then I went up again, I think like the next day or the day after, and I had a whole set planned. And on my way to the club, I got a text from my roommate about the dog that we lived with was on his period, which it's on my YouTube if you want to check it out. But it's like I didn't fully grasp that dogs also got their periods.
Right.
In the same.
Yeah, I think all mammals do.
They all do, and it makes sense like once I say it out loud.
Right.
But like there was
It'd be really weird if humans were the only ones that did.
But the thing was, he finished up the text with "Watch out for blood." And that was the thing that I wasn't prepared for. Because I think I understood that all mammals did get their periods.
Sure.
But I didn't think it was going to be in my way.
Yeah.
And so I just, like, I scrapped the set and I just talked about that for 5 minutes and did well.
There you go.
And that's like...
That's the thing you helped me out with, too. Because, like, I'm a person who... I mean, I still do every once in a while just to get the idea down of, like, I'll write the joke out word for word. And you're like... You know what you want to say.
Yeah.
Like, you know what the topic is. You know why you wrote it down. Just go up there and talk about it.
Yeah.
And that is, like, the best advice.
I said that to you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I should teach a class.
And that really was, like, that's amazing advice because I remember I was like, all right, yeah, I'll give that a go because it's like, because that's how you figure out what's funny about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just go up there and just talk about whatever the idea is.
Because, I mean, you can write it, I mean, like, whatever works for you, of course. But, like, you can write it all down. Like, Carlin wrote all of his stuff down.
Right.
And, like... But you can also write it down and then not follow that.
Yeah, true.
You know, you work it out when you're up there and you just swap out whatever you said.
I mean, my favorite comics are all like the very calculated guys. You know what I mean? Like the Carlins, of course, but like Jesselnick, Birbiglia, Gary Goldman, like these guys that are very particular about their word choice and everything that they do. So like that's why I always lean towards that.
I mean, that's if it works for you, it works for you. And that's the thing. It's like I can just I write down the ideas. Yeah. I have like in my notes like I have stuff written under the ideas.
Right.
That like I kind of want to hit on.
Sure.
But it's not like
Is that word for word what
Right.
you're
It's
about
not
to
like
say?
this is the premise, this is the transition to
Yeah.
that. It's just like ding ding ding.
Yeah.
Hey, how can
Yeah.
we make this one idea?
Right.
How can we make this flow?
Yep.
And it's I don't know. That's just what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, I like that. I do find that like since then, like since you told me that and I started trying it, I will find myself like before we did the Clarence show.
Yeah.
I was like making my set list, and I was like, oh, this one. I was like, let me review this one and like see if there's anything I can like expand on a little bit more. And I realized I didn't even have it written in my phone. Like I never even wrote that joke down. It was just like all I had was like that idea.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then I was like, oh, that's crazy that like, you know, I got to that point where it's like, oh yeah, I never actually wrote this one down. It just kind of worked.
It's just there.
Yeah.
And it's fun. I find that part fun because you're very much like you're in the moment.
Right.
You know, like because I've said stuff, like I'll start a joke and then I'll say something and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, wait, what if we continue with that? And you just kind of follow that. And it's not really what you originally were talking about.
Yeah.
And it's like the thing, though, that is still, you know, it's difficult. It's just like, I mean, even Sam did it a couple times today where it's like, you just say something and you're like, there's not really a joke there.
Right.
Those are just words.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes you do get carried away. Not you, but like you, the royal,
in general,
you.
It's very proper.
That's what we're here. That's what we're all about. I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt with a thing unbuttoned. I'm all about proper.
Crushing it.
Is just making sure you make it funny.
Yeah.
And it's not just you doing a TED Talk.
Right. Because you do see that a lot. For sure.
You see that a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, sure, like, yeah, you know,
anybody can go up and be entertaining.
Go on a tangent. Who cares?
Right.
Make it funny.
Sometimes it does work just to say what, like, make good points. And some people will clap along and agree with you or whatever. But it's like,
if you're going for an applause break,
just don't call yourself a comedian at that point. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
you're not telling jokes. You're not being funny.
That's, there's a dude, I don't remember his name, but he's got 2 specials on Amazon. One special is him doing his first date with his girl on like stage, and he's like, I think it's funny. And so I checked out his second special, and his second special is very different because it's just stand up.
Right.
And he does like a lot of stuff, but then he just goes into a very preachy rant like in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And it lost me completely.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is like...
I turned it off. I was just like,
when I start writing stuff, I mean, because sometimes I do where I like think I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, that's a good point about like something going on in the world. And like, I'll write it out. And then, but like my thing is like that I do is like when I trying to write a bit, it's like, okay, what's funny about this?
Yeah.
It's like the question to ask every time.
Right, why is it funny?
Right. And then sometimes it's like, oh, it's not. This is just a good point.
It's just a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That happens.
So
can't be funny all the time.
It's true, but we can sure try. Max, we made it, bud.
We did it.
Thanks for coming on. I know it was a long time coming.
No problem.
Look out for our upcoming podcast that will be starting at the end of August, or mid-August, I suppose. And Max has got a lot of thumbs to put up to approve of that. I will put all of Max's social media handles in the description of this episode, so check him out, follow him on everything. He's a very funny guy. Go see him at various shows around Buffalo and other parts of the world because he is a world traveler.
August 2nd, Helium Comedy Club, Buffalo. Buffalo's Funniest Person semifinals.
Right. And
August 6th, Haverhill, Massachusetts, RG's Pub.
It's pronounced Haverhill.
Is it?
It's true. The only reason I know is because I played a show there one time.
It's Haverhill?
Haverhill.
But it's... why is fucking...
It's Massachusetts.
Worcester, Haverhill.
Yeah.
All right. Northern Boston suburb.
Haverhill.
RG's Pub, August 6th, 8 p.m.
Yeah.
That's all I got booked right now.
Yeah, all I've got is Buffalo's Funniest on August 9th, so... All right. Later.
Bye.